important options you need to understand. So we need to define some types. We need to configure some types. How we can configure the types? Let's. And additionally, what we need to handle, we need to understand here, right? Technically. So let's see. So how we can handle the uh, values. So let's create one table for understanding the basic data types. So here I'll give the types. Right. Here I am adding the data types. So data type and its alias name we need to understand. Yeah. So we have type and alias name. Alias is a reference name for that data type. The MongoDB data types so are same like JavaScript data types. Like I told you, it can be number, string, and all these. So actually, so we can have a data type double. So its alias name is double. Its alias name is double. We have string. Its alias name is string. We have object. So its alias name is object. So you know double double is same like number, right? Number means I told you already, signed integer, unsigned integer, floating point, double, decimal. You remembered. By default, every number is a integer. Actually, every integer is treated as a double actually. So it is signed or unsigned or floating point or decimal. It is considered as a double. Double is for all kinds of numbers, numerical values, right? And we can have array, alias is array. So we can have a binary data. For that we use bin data. Bin data is the alias type for that binary data. We have undefined type. Undefined is used by using undefined. And we have an object ID. Object ID is used for default object ID, and that is used as the primary key. Actually, we have boolean. Boolean is used by using keyword bool. And we have date. Date is defined as date. It is defined as date. And null is defined as null. So the alias names, we have regular expression, and regular expression is defined as regular expression is configured as regex, regular expression. These are all the basic data types available. So we have data type like a symbol, important data types. So I'm giving here symbol, that is the data type, how you configure. And 32 bit integers. So 32-bit integer. So for that we use int. Int is for 32-bit integer. And we have 64-bit integer. 64-bit integer. For that we use as long. We have int, we have long, we have these options defined. So technically, these are the important data types. These are the important data types. We also have a decimal. So we have decimal 128. So this is the type name, and it is actually accessed decimal. So this is new in the MongoDB data types actually. So you don't need to worry about the data types complexity. You actually, we don't need to define any data type. Actually, we don't need to define any data type. Generally, when you are configuring the data types, you can define the data type. You can define the data type. You can restrict the data types. You can configure and restrict the data types. So, and it's not mandatory to restrict the data types. So we can simply use as JavaScript data types and configure them there. Actually, if you want to restrict the data types, how you restrict the data types? So you need to know that. So the data types are restricted. That means JavaScript is not strictly typed. The data types are defined by using dollar type. So by using this dollar type, so we can configure the data types. We can define the data type. That means we can use this dollar type as a type. So to restrict the data type of any particular field, we can restrict the data type of particular field. So for example, if you want to restrict the type and we need to allow the type, we can use these data types and define them. But how you can use these restrictions and accessing the types? So this you will see in querying. That means generally what we can do is these data types are mostly used while finding the values. So while inserting, we don't need to use this. While inserting, we don't need to use this. These are used while querying. That means, so the data types, the types are required. The types are required, required, required while querying the data. Querying the data. While inserting, you don't need to define the type. You can configure. While querying, we have to use the data types. That means later I will tell you, just in the next level, I will show you how we query. While inserting, we don't need to mention the data type. For example, category ID is number. Category ID is number. I want to search based on category ID. Later I will show you how we can search. So db.tbl categories dot find. And here, when we want to find, we will write a query here. We want to write here category ID. I want to search by the field category ID. And what data type that category ID contains, you can tell that. So you can simply write like this. So we can write a query here, and we can define like dollar type. So dollar type, and you can say that it is a number, and you can say that it is a number. So that means this is used to find the category ID. So if the type is defined, if the type is number, that means you can search for any field which is having a specific type, a number type or a string type or a null type. Only if it is having that type, you can search for that. This you will see in querying the data. How we can query, how we can work with the data, we will see that. So all the types are same like the JavaScript types. You don't need the types while storing the data. You need the types while querying the data. For example, let's create one table for different types as I told you. So let's go into this program files and the CD server. MongoDB CD server CD, so 4.4 CD bin and Mongo. And here, so yesterday we created a database, show DBS, and that is demo DB. Use demo DB. Okay. DB, that is the active DB. Show collections, and we have that TBL categories. Let's create a collection, db.create collection, and TBL products. I am creating a table TBL products. Options are not mandatory. I am not giving the options. Table is created. Once the table is created, into that we are going to add the records. That means db.tbl products dot insert. And here I am inserting a record. You can use, as I told you, insert. You can use insert one. You can use insert many. So you can insert. So whatever you want, you can configure. And here I am defining. The options. So how we can insert. So let's create one record here, and I am defining here. So the name. So the product name. Suppose say product ID. ID is number. So it is having a name. So name is a string type. So same string type, some JBL speaker. Okay, next we have price. So price, some price. Okay, and comma, we have another option, in stock. In stock, it is a boolean, true or false, we are configuring. And we have to define, so manufactured, MFD, manufactured date. I need to define a date. Then how do we define the date? How you can configure the date? Same as you define the dates in your JavaScript. That means JavaScript, how we define the date. So we have to use new date. Am I right? You have to use new date. And here we need to define the date value. So 2020, so and 02 and some 10. So year, month, day, that is the format, how we can configure. And here, so we have options like suppose a ship to. Ship to is an array again. Ship to is an array. Here we have to tell it is shipped to Delhi, shipped to Hyderabad, like this. Now this is little bit complex data. So now everything is, data type is not required here. So data type is not required while inserting the records. Data type is required while querying the records. So because JavaScript based environments will allow you to handle any type of data, and you can send any type of data, and all are same like JavaScript data types. So whatever you configured here, so that record is inserted. And you can see it says that record inserted. So I want to add multiple records. And you can handle any type of data. I want to add multiple records. Then what I am doing is, let's, because in the command prompt it is complex. So let's go here, and I want to insert the records. Then usually from the graphical mode also you can insert the records. So for example, let's open this Mongodb Compass. So Mongodb Compass, and in the Mongodb Compass, so let's connect to the server. Yeah. Let's connect to that server, and you can see there is a demo DB here. and you can open this demo DB. In that you have two tables, TBL categories and TBL products, and how many documents are present and what is the document size. Everything is configured here. Visually you are creating, and you click here TBL products. So it will get the data in the TBL products, and you can see it is having product ID, name, price, and all these details. And it says that you can see the shipped to is an array. Shipped to is an array. It contains these values. It contains these values. You can modify the records here. You can modify the records here. Suppose you want to add the data, you can add the data here. You can see import file, import a document. Import file is nothing but you can maintain the data in a separate JSON file. I means JavaScript file in a JSON extension file, and we can import the data here. It will insert into it. Insert document, that means it will ask you to write the document. You can paste your documents here, and you can insert them. So it is right a like documents means you have to just like an array. We need to create an array of objects, you can manage that. That means you can create such data here and you can insert. So graphically, it looks easy for you. It looks easy for you. You can maintain anywhere. You can just click the insert button. So anywhere, if you want to insert multiple records, then from command prompt also, see what I am doing here. Because directly in command prompt, if you miss any line and you going to specific line and modifying will be a very risky one. Why? Because if I use up arrow, down arrow, it will automatically go to the previous command. You cannot go to that. You see here, going to any specific location, modifying, you need lot of left right keys to use. If I accidentally use up arrow, then it will get the previous command. So down arrow will come the next command, right? This will be a risky one to handle. That is the reason. So in graph, people have a habit of doing like this. So we will create an array. And in this array, we will create an object, and we will define everything here. So that is the product ID. Product ID is 2. So product ID is 2, and the product name. So say Nike Casuals, that is the name. And we have the price. So some price. Okay. And we have like in stock. So we have true, and we have manufactured MFD. So that is a new date. And here 2020, 2020, and some month and day. So year, month, day. Okay. And another option is shipped to, and we are adding some Delhi and some Chennai like this. So shipped to. So this is a simple record we configured. So, and I will copy this now, and I will add another record. This is product 3, and here we defined like shirt and some price and some manufactured, some 8, some 14, 12 something, and shipped to we are changing. So Delhi, Chennai, Hyderabad like this. Okay. Now like this you can add the records. And I will copy here. And here I am using. So here I am going to the command prompt, and here we are using DB. So we are copying that and we are using. Our double quote is missing. Okay, here it is missing. Fine. Okay. Now we are going here and also right. Fine. Okay. I will copy that. Yes. Now let's go here. db.tbl products dot insert, and in insert can insert multiple. Here you can paste it. Here you can paste that. So that means in the insert you are pasting that and you are defining this. So this is important. This is important. So that means just what we are doing here is let's see here. So db dot use db, right? Use demo db. Okay, then here we are configuring db.tbl products dot insert, and we have to paste that. So we need to paste that. Let me copy and paste. So I need to paste that here, and I need to close this, and I need to tell that it's going to insert that record. You see inserted to. We can add multiple records. You can do such things. So in the graphical mode also, you can do such things. In the graphical mode also, you can define that. So that means, so when you are configuring the data, so when you are configuring the data, so here I select demo DB. So, and in this TBL products, now we have the 3 records here. So how we can store the data? So that is just like JavaScript, JSON object. We are storing the data, we are managing the data. So technically, to add the records, so we have 3 options: insert one, and insert many. And how we can read the data. So how we can read the data, we will see that. So this is a simple example of adding records. So let data type is not required while adding the records. While searching, while using, we can use these data types, because you know that JavaScript don't have any explicit data types. JavaScript implicit data types. That means it determines the type of the value, type of the variable or the field according to the data type that you have defined. So generally, how we can read the records. I will give an example here. So inserting records. So, or you can simply say these records are called documents, inserting documents. And we are using a simple command here. So this is the command for inserting the records. So this is the command for inserting the records. I will copy that here. So that means insert and that data. Let's keep this here. Yeah. So insert and an array. So we need to copy this array here. I will just copy this array, because directly in command prompt, in order to deal such data, it will be a risky one. So that is the reason we follow this technique. Okay. This is inserting the records. Now, after inserting the records, how we can access the records? Modifying records, updating records, deleting records, everything we will see. How we can read the records, how we can access and read the records. So that means read operations, how we can manage, right? Let's see how we can handle the read operations. Actually, so the operations are used to retrieve the data, retrieve the documents from a collection. So that means that is, so you can query a collection. You can query a collection for documents. Actually, to read, so MongoDB provides find method. It provides find method for querying. MongoDB provides find method for querying. So that means generally how we can use this find method is we need to define, so db dot collection, your collection dot find. You have to use find. Actually, when you are displaying that find, find can have a lot of queries. Find can have a lot of queries. And we can also use, actually, there is another option. So MongoDB usually, so another option is MongoDB. So MongoDB provides pretty pretty method to display the documents in a friendly format. So in a visual friendly format. So we have to add that pretty to the find function. That means we need to define in this way. So db dot collection dot find and dot pretty. That's how we need to handle it. So to display in a better format, we have to use that option. So generally, so when you are defining the find command, so there are several more options here. So first I will show you. If I want to read the records from the table, so db dot collection tbl products dot find. You can see it will get the records, but the records that it displays is not in a proper visual good friendly format. That's the reason what we do is we use db tbl products dot find dot pretty. So now it can display in a proper format. You can see now the records are displayed in a good visual format so that you can easily understand the records. So you can see here. So it is using so the pretty command. So to display the records in a clean format, you can simply use the pretty method for find every time to display in a proper way. If you are displaying complex data, then it will have very complex display structures. So we will make it friendly by using this pretty option. So that means here, so example, so syntactically we are defining here. So db dot tbl products dot find dot pretty. So it is going to read the records and display the records. That is read operation, and it is going to display the records in a simple readable format. That's how it is going to add. I will just give a snapshot here of the screen. So just for our understanding sake that yes, so it is showing in a pretty format. So like this, it will display all the records in a pretty format. So let's keep that screen here. Yeah, that is the pretty. It is going to display the data. Now important is find. Find allows the queries. That means when you are using the find, so you have to know that. So find command. So you have to know that find command. So find method provides filters query filters or criteria so that identify the documents the documents based on specified condition and return only the documents that match the criteria criteria that means find command actually it can use query filters. Find command can use the query filters. That means syntactically the find command can use query filters in this way. That means db dot tbl products dot find, and here it can use in the query like this. That means it can use the query filters in an object style. It can use the query filters. So query filters are used by the find command to extract only the records that you want. It is just like in other just like in other databases, you have options like um, select star from table, select name ID from table. So we have various types of commands. So aggregation options, the same thing. So generally, it is used to handle all the situation in the same way. So that means usually when you are accessing the data and finding the data, querying the documents. So I will tell you, generally when I use the find command, so syntactically, how do we define the query? So we will see that. Generally, if you write your query, so you write your query in this way, that means db dot. So I will just give here example like this. So that means I am giving the query here. So db dot tbl products dot find, and I defined an empty query. So this is similar to select star from tbl products. So that means that is similar to the SQL query. So this is the MongoDB query, and this is the general SQL query. This is the general SQL query. That means it is equivalent to that SQL query. Equivalent to SQL query. That means find without any parameters that you have defined. That means it is going to return all the records. It is going to return all the records. And how we can use various conditions, how we can specify the conditions, how we can manage various conditions. So technically, how we can add various conditions and define them. Usually, suppose I want a simple conditions. That means I want to get the records. I want to get the records. So suppose how we can use the conditions. Let's see. That means how we can configure the conditions in technically conditions in mongo query mongo queries mongodb query. So in mongodb query, how do we define the conditions, how we can specify the conditions? So first important, so equality condition. How you define equality condition? That means equality condition is nothing but it can access and return the documents. It can access and return the documents, or only the documents. Access and return only. It can access and return only the documents. Documents the documents that match the given value, that is equality condition, that match the given value. So that is equality condition. And generally, so that means it is similar to, so equal operator, that is similar to equal operator of javascript, equal operator of javascript. So generally, SQL users in this way. So like select a star from TBL products. So where products TBL products. So where, so name is equal to, so some Nike casuals like this. That is how the equality operator is used. Equality operator is used in general SQL queries. How the equality operator is used in SQL queries. The same thing is followed. The same thing is followed here. But how you define equality condition in MongoDB? That means MongoDB, here we have to define. So option like this, find. And in the find method, we have to write a query. In the query, we have to define field name, and we have to define value. This is equal condition. This is equal condition. This is equal condition. Field name and value. That's the equal condition. We don't use any operator. We don't use any operator. So that is equal condition. So that is equal conditions. So that is what actually we define. So equal condition. Generally, so this is equal, how you define the equal. So technically, general options. So equal, I will show you here how it happens. Suppose I want to get based on name, based on price. Later we will add some more fields also. I want to get the details of shirt. Then db dot tbl products dot find, and in the find we have to use the query here, the field name. We have to define the field name, and the field name is so name is the field name, and the value and the value is the shirt. And I will add a pretty every time at the end of the query. This is equal query. Then it has to get only the record that is matching with shirt. We can search for number, we can search for price, we can search for boolean. You can search based on anything. Suppose product id is 1, product id is 2, or price is this much. So this is equality operator. That means you can query so based on that specific option and define based on that option. That means query based on this operator. That means how you can handle the documents here. That means generally, we are using the conditions in this way. We don't use any operator like equal. We just use a JavaScript based query here. So that means here I am defining some option like db.tbl products dot find, and here we have to write the query. So the query is price. So price is equal to, that means colon, and we are defining some price. That means suppose here we have some price 6055, right? So that means I am writing here 6000.55. So price is matching with that value, and pretty, I am defining pretty, and it will get that value and display. We can search and we can get based on any specific field. If it is matching to that, and it will get that and it will display. You can configure in a string, so we can define in this format here. So this is querying. This is querying the data. That means how you can use an equal operator, and configure the equal operator. So I'm giving a simple example. This is how you define the equality, how you configure the equality. So if it is number, you just pass the number. If it is a string, then you have to pass the string. Based on the number or string, you have to configure it. So that means how we can access that particular and display. That means example here I will give here. So just example. So db.tbl products.find, and here we are defining another option. So that is name. So name, and here I defined as Nike casuals. The name Nike casuals, and pretty. So we are displaying in a proper format. Without pretty also it will work. That's not the problem here, right? That's how we configure. Now, so when you are using the conditions, so that means conditions using, we can use query operators. So we can define the conditions using query operators. This is equal. So you can also define conditions using query operators. Condition using query operators. That means condition using query operators. Condition using query operators means, so MongoDB allows conditions using query operators. Like we can use the operator dollar or you can use the operator $or, and you can use the operator like $in. So you can use the operators $or and $in. Generally, you know that dollar in will verify whether that particular value is present in multiple locations or not. So if the value is present in multiple locations, it will get them and it will display. It will get and display. So that means it is going to use these operators and configure these operators. So, but using them requires a simple logical condition to define here. That means, suppose I want to get some multiple values based on the conditions. I want to get multiple values. Then we can use these operators. We can configure these operators. Suppose how we can define the operators: db.tbl products dot find, and
ଭାଇ
here
ଯୋଉ ସେପଟେ
so
ଅଛି
dot
ତାକୁ ମାରିଦବ
pretty at the end,
ସେଇ ଯୋଉ ଧାର
and
ଯାକ
inside the find I am using the operator
ନା ନା
configuring
ସେଇ
here,
ଫ୍ରଣ୍ଟ ଧାର
and
ତମେ
here we
ମାରିସାର ମୁଁ
want to
କହୁଛି
search based on the field names. So we need to define the field. Then field name, I'm giving here a field as some name. I'm giving the name. So I am adding here, I need to search for multiple. So if I have to search for multiple and for the field name, so we have to define another query inside that field name. We need to configure another query for that field name. And the query is nothing but we are writing name in, and we have to add the multiple values. What are the multiple values you are looking for? That means you have to search for name, and we need to use an operator in. If name in, so in value, remember this is equality only. This is similar to equality. Name in, so I defined here, so shirt, that is one value. Another value, so suppose I defined some Nike casuals, that is the name in shirt and Nike casuals. That is how we define the multiple values, configure the multiple values, and it should get those details and display, and it gets the details and display. So that means it gets the details Nike casuals and shirt. It can get those details. It can search for only those, and it will get and it will display those. So this is also equality only. So that means we need to find multiple. That means is it in multiple conditions? We can add multiple conditions. We can use and, we can use or, we can use greater than, less than. So we can use various types of conditions. We can configure various types of conditions. But here we cannot use general operators. We cannot use general operators. For using operators, we have to define a lot of symbols. I will show you those symbols. Generally, this is one simple example how we can handle this one example here. That means it is going to get and display only those details. That means we are using the operator syntactically we define in this way. Syntactically we define in this way. That means you are looking for, so you are looking for name. Actually, in SQL queries, usually in SQL queries, it is going to use this in the SQL queries in a similar way. Generally, if you are using in SQL, actually it will be like select star. So from TBL products, where name, so it will use in, and it will use those two values, that is a shirt, and it is like Nike casuals. That's how it uses general select queries in SQL. So here we cannot use in the same way. So we have, means the concept is same, but the syntactical approach that you configure is this. We have to use that dollar in dollar. So when you are defining the conditions, that means conditions are defined. Conditions are defined by using literals, not operators, We use literals here for conditions. For example, the conditions like, so dollar $LT, this is for less than. So dollar $GT, this is for greater than. So dollar, so we define LTE. So this is less than or equal, less than or equal. So we have dollar GTE. This is greater than or equal, equal. And we have dollar NE. This is for not equal, not equal. These are the conditions that generally you define for getting the values and using the values. Means you can configure the conditions here. We cannot use operators. We cannot use operators. We have to use these literals for various conditions. We need to configure these literals. So for example, that means just one simple point I will show you here. That means how we can configure them. So I will show you simple option here. Suppose I want to find the records whose price is above 10,000 or below 10,000. I want to find the records whose price is below 10,000. Below 10,000. Then tbl products. So and dot find, and here so pretty okay. And in the find we are writing the query. So we are writing the query price. Okay, for price we need to write a condition here. And for price the condition is, so price I am giving here dollar, so LT means less than how much value. So less than 10,000 I am defining like this. So that means this is less than, price less than 10,000. So it has to get that value and display. And price less than 10,000, and you can see that it will get all the values, 4,500 and 6,000, and suppose and it is showing so greater than 1,000, all are less than only. Suppose I will add the condition here. Suppose I want to say greater than, so greater than 5,000. I want to get the values which price is greater than 5,000, and you will get only one, 6,000. That is night casuals. So that is greater than, less than, greater than or equal, less than or equal. You can combine multiple conditions also, like and or. You can use the combinations. I will show you how we can manage them. But this is very important. That means how you query. So and how you define the conditions: equal, greater than or equal, less than or equal, not equal. We cannot use directly the operators. We can use this. So this is how we configure. So the conditions, the multiple conditions, and define the conditions here. I will copy that and I will paste. So that example here. So this is an example for that. That means how you can search based on the queries, how you can configure the queries and use the queries here. So greater than, less than, greater than or equal, for that we need to use these literals, not the operators. Now here you have multiple conditions to configure. We can also define multiple conditions and multiple conditions, and a lot of embedded queries will be there for accessing the data and using the data. That we will see in our next session, right? Tomorrow we will discuss about all the queries of reading, updating, and deleting, CRUD operations. Once we can do that, we will design one database. And with that database is ready, now we can learn server-side technology to interact with the database and communicate with the database. That is Node.js and all, right? We will first discuss all the other queries, updating, deleting, modifying the records, how we can do. That we will see in our next session. Tomorrow we'll continue with this, right? Hope you are practicing all these, because in the beginning days it looks easy, but once we go into the queries, little bit complex will be there. You practice well. Once we are done with this, now we will create one database for our application, and we will use that for building an application in real time. Okay. So tomorrow we will continue with other queries in MongoDB. Yeah.